Isn't it exciting to see so much innovation going on in insurance? At Xpertdoc, we work with companies that are focused on wowing their customers by radically transforming omni-channel document generation and the entire customer engagement process. Carriers are innovating in new ways to bring new insurance products to market. But they're challenged because all of the technical innovation is really on the customer engagement or deployment side of the equation. And they struggle because there's no innovation in the product development area. This leaves the entire insurance product development piece largely untouched and manual by technical innovation. And there is so much that happens prior to the actual rendering of insurance documents at the production time. It starts with the concept design, then there's the multi-layered approval and review process, development of form templates, integration with core systems, and then ultimately deploying to production use. And again, all having to be done within regulatory requirements and guidelines. Today, we're going to give you a quick glimpse into what we've done in a product that we call Forms Lifecycle Workbench. Forms Lifecycle Workbench is really designed for the entire process prior to the rendering of insurance forms. This toolset allows carriers to drastically add velocity to that tedious process of approving and reviewing and creating all of those documents. It all starts with design. Here, we're using an Xpertdoc wizard to assist in drafting content that will eventually become an endorsement template. By using predefined corporate standards like headers, footers, predefined layouts, the business expert can focus on those items that will make the endorsement form truly specific to meet their needs. Jim, tell us about the concept search option.
The endorsement that we're actually designing today is based on waiver of subrogation. So the concept search option down here below, what this provides is we have an index of all the content of the existing forms in the library. And what it does is it actually performs a search for similar concepts for reference. So looking in here, there's two other references out here to waiver subrogation. I can simply select one of these to use, select it and modify, or go with the wording I have up above, which is the path I'll take today. So upon execution, we push this document to our content repository, and it's ready to begin the approval process. So by leveraging the standards that you saw today and guiding the forms drafting process, the effort from concept to design can be reduced from weeks to hours.
Now, once the form is in the repository, the required review and approvals can begin. The Forms Lifecycle Workbench, we can bring together multiple forms into a single product release. Each form can be created from scratch, as Jim just did, or it can be sourced from state bureaus or Xpertdoc's ISO form service and pulled into the carrier's workbench.
So each company has a different process on who has to review, update, and approve the forms. Could be marketing, could be legal, could be product, could be claims. This process is typically manual, difficult to manage, and prone to errors. What Forms Lifecycle Workbench can expedite that review process by tracking additional information, as you can see here. It can be information that's not reflected on the form itself. Each form can have its own unlimited amount of metadata, and what we're representing here today with a status. So what we want to actually do to begin the review process is select, this is the form that we just modified and created and designed. We're going to select another one, and we are going to actually send this off for approval. Now what you see here is it invokes a session where I can actually type an email. This same workflow, same tool set can be utilized whether it's to an individual, to an internal group, or even to an external group as well. Same tool set, same workflow. Let's select Thomas Green. You can see those are the two forms we're going to send off for approval, and I can actually send that off. So a couple things that you note here is that it automatically invokes Outlook. In addition to that, that the actual attachment is not the forms themselves, but what it is actually a pointer or a hyperlink to our content repository. Single source of the forms to avoid any sort of versioning issues, any sort of conflict. So I, acting as Thomas Green, can now open this. I can make whatever modifications I want to make. Let's say we want to do indentation here. Let's say we actually want to do some bolding, any sort of formatting that is required. And at the end, what we also want to be able to do is make a reference to a field, because we want this schedule names of persons to be actually dynamically driven. So what I'm going to do is actually put schedule names in there. So what that represents in the angle brackets identifies it as a dynamic field, which will be pulled from a data source and displayed on the rendered form itself. So once all is done, I can save this, upload this back to our content repository. I, as Thomas Green, can send information back to the sender to say, I've reviewed it, everything looks good, I've made the necessary modifications.
So the last step is to deploy it to production. Once that form has been designed and gone through the entire rigorous approval process, the form is now ready to be used. We're showing an Xpertdoc smart form to simulate an insurance core policy application to access the new form that was deployed into production.
So the end user has actually entered all the information regarding their insured and are looking to issue a declarations page. So using the form and the information collected, what we can do is the last step is to actually add the endorsement. So down here you can see I can select the endorsement that we designed. I can put in a schedule name here. And I can execute this. Now upon execution, what it's doing is it's actually pulling the information from the smart form, automatically attaching the endorsement, and then the endorsement that has gone from conceptual design all the way through to use in production is attached. There's our reference, and there's the endorsement that we designed, including the necessary formatting, as well as the individual that wants to be attached to the policy.
So again, no IT involvement, taking that all the way from the conceptual design of the product form through to use in production. So Xpertdoc's Forms Lifecycle Workbench results in a drastic reduction in the time and cost required for insurance product innovation. It allows for improved collaboration, higher quality, and regulatory compliance. By simplifying the entire life cycle, carriers are able to quickly innovate and drastically improve their time to revenue. We invite you to stop by and see us in the exhibit hall and discuss how to transform your product innovation and customer experience. Thank you.